So I'm here with Claire Normoyle, who is a digital producer for local Channel 9 News up in Syracuse, New York. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you're also from the Syracuse area?
Yes, I was born here and I've lived here my entire 24 years. So,
Oh, that's great. So thank you for joining us. I just have two questions for you. So I'll start with the first one. What types of stories or formats tend to drive the most engagement and page views on digital platforms? And how does that influence content decisions?
um, that's a good one. That's a loaded question. I think that stories that are going to impact people directly will always do the best. I think that would be like any entertainment story. So, like local concerts, businesses closing, or any sort of, I don't want to say local juice, but like somebody was just fired recently.
Mhm.
That always does well. If there's new people that come into positions of power, it's like the obvious things that do well. So they always take precedence over others. But yeah, that's really it. It's the things that if you would enjoy it, other people will probably enjoy it. So
All right, so question number two. How do digital teams decide which headlines, thumbnails, or layouts will be the most effective in attracting clicks while maintaining journalistic integrity?
people love people. That's the best way to put it. For thumbnails or what we call, they're called featured images. Always pictures of people or people doing things other than like a scene setter, those will always do well. Um,
Okay.
um, our website has um, a specific layout that draws your eyes from left to right because that's how we read.
Hmm.
The biggest thumbnails sit on the left. We have something called our hero spot. It's our biggest spot. It's the biggest featured image, and we have two smaller ones like or they're medium, and then a bunch of little ones. The more important stories or the breaking news stories always go on the left or weather. The people want to know the weather when it's like the winter time. Um, so there's that. Then okay, I already talked about thumbnails a little.
Okay.
Headlines. No clickbait. No clickbait. That is how you kill like the integrity of your station. That is how people will say, I'm not gonna go to them. It's clickbait. I wasted my time reading the story. People online, social media, they're brutal. They're brutal. They're gonna say exactly how they feel. A headline always does best with a locator in it, like whether it's a town, a city, I don't know, whatever area you're in. Just stay away from local unless you have a location. Um, and again, it just falls back on what would impact the people that would want to read the story. Like, what's a good example? I don't even have a good example. There's so many different things. Um, I don't know how to describe it. We do something called headline testing where we have this software called Chartbeat and we put two different headlines into the software and then you can choose um, which of the two headlines does better through Google. I don't know how it works.
Okay.
That's my manager's job. That's more analytic. Um, and really it just when you write headlines, you want to think about would this make you click it? What makes people want to click on a story? You don't want to put your entire story in your headline, and you don't want to put enough in your headline because your headline is like, oh, I'm sorry, my fingers away. Your headline is the single most important thing of your story. That is literally the doorway from I'm on Facebook, I'm on Google, I'm on something. Like, what is going to want to make that person click, step into the doorway, and then read your story? And then from there, it goes on to, hey, how do I keep them, how do I keep their, what's the word I'm looking for? How do I keep them here? How do I keep them
Yeah.
here? How do I keep them reading the story? And that's really it. And then all the other pieces fall into line. Like, what about the thumbnail? And like we said before, like just people. You don't want necessarily a place. Like you want something. If you have five images, you want to pick the most important one for your thumbnail, and then you can put the rest in the story and so on. I don't know if I answered all your
You
parts of
did.
your
You did
question. Okay.
perfect.
Okay.
Thank you
I was
so
like,
much. It was very in detail. And let me just ask you one question before you go,
I
relating
have
to your
all the
answer.
time. Don't
When
worry.
you were talking about headlines and how they're like one of the most important things when it comes to, digital media and stuff like that and trying to grab viewers. Now, do digital producers play a big role in creating those because they know what viewers want, or does it rely fully on the reporters and their stories?
So in our at our station, it's like a 50-50 effort, but sometimes it depends. I know like you talk to Ashley, obviously. Ashley could write a story. She has her angle, she's got her interviews and she writes her story, but then she leaves her work into the hands or drops her work into the hands of the digital producers, and then they fluff her story. They touch up anything that she might have missed because a lot of the differences between what she does and what I do is like the tenses. Reporters
Mm,
speak in active tense, or at least that's what they do here. I know that there's ways that people do things and they might teach you, but I know that some stations do it a little bit different. They speak in active tense. We write in past tense, said versus says, and so on. When you don't have visuals anymore, it's how does she alter her story so that you don't need them and you still understand what she's saying. And that's kind of like what our job is. And then obviously, my tongue, sorry. So
no
our
worries.
photog just walked in front. So then you got to think about how you can cater her once reporter package to the website and then for content on social media, which is a very, very important thing as a digital producer. It's a rising platform posting on social media.
Well, thank you so much. That was a great answer, very
Yeah.
insightful.